And we continue this afternoon on Central Valley Talk. I'm Mike Scott, joined now by Carolyn and Roehl from AseraCare Hospice here in Fresno. They've been around for 10 years. A lot of us have heard of Nancy Hines Hospice, but I was surprised to learn you just told me there are several other hospices that have been operating in Fresno for years.
Right, right.
You're one of them.
Yeah, it's a large population, so there's plenty of people to serve, so it's a need.
Yeah. And there will always be a need.
Correct.
End of life. We're all going to get there someday. And I'd like to think when I got to that point that it would be handled in a professional, nice, compassionate way.
Yes. Hospice is designed to serve people at end of life, and that usually means a prognosis of 6 months or less. And the people that serve those folks, those patients, are trained professionals in end of life care. So you have an interdisciplinary team of nurses, chaplains, social workers, volunteers, hospice aides. So all of those come together as a team and serve the patient and their family.
It must be so gratifying or rewarding to be with somebody at the end. I mean, and to let them go gently and peacefully.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is. It's nice to meet with the families. They don't know what to do. It's very challenging times. So when we provide that service, we have the information which they don't have. It's always a chaotic crisis about time. So if you can provide that information of how to access that service sooner versus later, it's much more gratifying for the families instead of a chaotic crisis mode. And usually we get that 2 to 3 days our patients pass away, when we can have that patient maybe for 60 to 90 days. Unfortunately, that's the challenge, is that to communicate and deliver that right message to that family, to that patient that agreed to, okay, it's about comfort now, it's about quality of life versus doing the aggressive type treatments and lengthier time of life versus the quality of life you would have.
Why would families wait 2 or 3 days? I mean, they must have known long before that there wasn't a chance of whatever the person is dying from. There wasn't a chance of it turning around. So
I think across the nation, many physicians have a hard time having that conversation with their patients. And so what happens is someone ends up in the acute care, into a hospital through the emergency room. And then they get a consultation by the palliative care team there, and they say, it's time for hospice. Usually at that point, you're talking a matter of weeks. So it would be, we do a lot of education in the community to try to inform people of the services, because you would take advantage. Most people want to die in their home setting. They don't want to die in a hospital. So to prevent those hospitalizations when there's nothing they can do for them in a hospital is our goal, is to provide that symptom management, that support to the family to care for someone in a home setting. That's what we try to do.
How many people can you care for at any one time?
Well, your census, there's hospices in the United States that have over 300 people on service. Our census today is over 100. So you just staff to provide the services to those folks. And the frequency of visit depends on the needs of the individual. So you could be there daily, you could be there 8 hours a day, or you could be there once a week. It depends on what their needs are.
So you don't have a central location. You go out to people's homes.
You serve people where they live. So you serve them whether they live in a nursing home, an assisted living facility, or individual home. And the goal is to have them live and die in a place where they're at.
Like you said, at home is the preference.
Home is,
yeah. How did you decide to get into this field? I mean, you don't grow up saying, I want to work in hospice care, but something must have touched both of you to make you want to do this.
I can tell you that over 80% of folks that work, employees of hospice services, was affected in some way. One was with myself. My grandmother had passed away, had a stroke, but I didn't know hospice at the time. I was in the healthcare field, in a different field, but we were not informed of hospice care at that time. When I got into hospice in a different way, we could have actually received hospice earlier versus later, and that's, again, wow, this is where I need to be, is to provide that service, to provide that education to the community about what hospice looks like, what the philosophies are, and how we can assist those patients, and how can we support that family and the caregivers to provide that service at their end of their life.
Right.
It's just getting that communication back to the to the patient and the family in a positive way versus a negative way. There's always a negative connotation about hospice services. Oh my gosh, don't talk to me about hospice. That's the end of life. I'm giving up. I'm giving up hope. I can't do this. I can't do that. There's a lot of things that hospice can provide, and that is to provide that comfort, to provide that support, provide assistance, and provide that quality of time for that patient and the family.
Yeah.
Give that.
Hospice is not about trying to keep the person alive as long as you can. It's acknowledging that the end is near, and we're going to make it as peaceful an exit as we can. Right?
Exactly, just accompany them on their
Hospitals,
journey.
sometimes it seems like they just want to keep you hooked up, keep racking up the charges, and make as much money as they can. And I think at some point you have to say, the end is near. I know that wasn't a question, but all right. You brought some pictures, and let's kind of go through those and kind of explain to folks the butterflies.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the butterfly celebration was started, wow, it's our 10th year this year. And it's to celebrate patients that, throughout the community, not just for hospice patients that have passed away, with a butterfly release. So every middle of May, we go to Wolf Lakes Park, and we have a celebration of life to release butterflies. So we have a small ceremony, a memorial service, and then at the end of the ceremony, we have live butterflies in a triangle box.
About
that's
1,200.
released.
Where do you
About
find
1,200.
butterflies? I'm just
Shafter.
Oh, Shafter.
Insect lore. There's a plug for them. Insect lore. They've been providing butterflies for
Oh,
us
they
for
have a
hours.
big insect museum
Yes,
there,
they
don't
do.
they?
They closed it down.
Ladybug.
Oh, they closed it down?
Unfortunately, they did. And schools and farm, and they've been providing butterflies and different types of bugs for over 40 years.
Wow.
I found them, and it was a great relationship with them.
So if you ever need
Yes.
butterflies,
Yeah.
Butterflies,
go to
and
Shafter.
ladybugs, whatever bugs you need. Actually, they were actually featured at one of their Indiana Jones, when they had roaches. Those Madagascar.
Look at the things we're learning
Yeah, I
today.
tell you.
Look at the things we're learning. All right. So what are these pictures now?
Well, we have a lot of activities in our organization. One of the things we do is we sponsor a lot of community events, and we have, this one was the funds that were raised through the Butterfly Foundation, went to the local Alzheimer's foundations.
That was nice.
Yeah. And then we also are part of the We Honor Vets program. It's a program through the Department of Veterans Affairs and National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization. And it's hospice services designed specifically for veterans. 1 in 4 Americans who die every day is a veteran. So, and they have unique needs. We do pinning ceremonies, we do special celebratory things with the families, we do honor them at the end with flag ceremonies. So there's a lot that can be done for veterans. And we also have veterans that visit veterans. So.
And we have our national cemetery, right, over off I-5 somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think one down near Bakersfield also.
I believe so, yes.
I'm not sure. Okay. All right. AseraCare Hospice. Where can folks go to get more information about what you do?
We're online. We're at www.aseracare.com, and we're also local, so 447-2540. You just call and we can provide information, or come out and visit and provide an informational visit.
Yeah.
Our doors don't close. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays. So call us.
All right.
When the need's there.
Carolyn and Roehl from
Yes.
AseraCare Hospice in Fresno. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy New Year
Mike.
to you. And we'll be back with more on Central Valley Talk.